Want help to grow your business? Download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.
Hi, I'm Dale Beaumont and welcome to Secrets Exposed. This is the show that takes you up close and personal with world-leading business experts. And our topic for this interview is how to develop the mindset of a great entrepreneur. Keep watching. My special guest today is successful entrepreneur and global traveler BRiN. And our topic for this interview is how to develop the mindset of a great entrepreneur. And Gary is with me right now in the studio. Welcome, Gary.
Thanks for having me, Dale.
All right, so we're going to be talking about the mindset of a successful entrepreneur and a whole bunch of factors that really help to create not just a successful business, but also make a successful and happy person as well. So let's get into that right now. Now, when we talk about mindset, what do you mean by that? What are we referring to?
Yeah, so in school, when we brought up, we learned different skills on getting a job. But as an entrepreneur, we need something completely different. To succeed in business is you need to have the desire, the hunger, and your mindset. It has to focus on I will succeed. And yet the skill set is important, but I will attribute it to maybe like 20%. 80% of your success, if you determine enough, you focus enough, you find a way. Most people, when they focus on the how, you'll never get to the end. So successful entrepreneurs, from what I've studied and have a lot of them as my friends, they tend to just focus on why they want to succeed and that they will succeed. That's the number one. And when they have the hunger, the drive, and the determination, and the passion to succeed, they will find out how to succeed later.
Okay, and why do you think it is so important? You've mentioned up to 80% of success can be due to mindset. Tell us a bit more about that.
Well, very often in life that if we're given the right skill set, but then when we're not focusing on the possibility of how resourceful we are, we get to a stage that our skill set is limited and it hits to a dead end. It's like, well, I don't know how to do it, or I don't know enough people, or I don't have enough resources or money to finances to get to the next level of the business. However, if your mindset is I am resourceful, I will find a solution, I am capable, I am destined to succeed, I am destined to build a multi-million-dollar business, I'm destined to serve this number of people, you will find a way because you believe you can. I saw a wall on a quote on your wall like that. Henry Ford said, if you believe you can, you're right. If you believe you can't, you're right as well. So what's better? To focus on that you can.
Absolutely. Now, how did you first learn the importance of mindset? Did you know it from day one in business, or did you only discover it once you were in business for a few years?
Yeah, well, actually, it goes back to a long way. I was born in Hong Kong and a very materialistic society where they said, if you have money, you're successful financially, you're going to be very happy. And unfortunately, the path to success is based on you go to school, you get good grades, and you get a good job, and you make a lot of money. And I failed at the first test. I was not great at school. In fact, my parents had to get called to see the principal office multiple times. And what's happening to you? Why aren't you teaching Gary the necessary things that he needed to learn? And it's not my parents' fault. I tried, but I'm just not great at learning at a certain modality, and memorizing stuff, it just wasn't my thing. And so it was depressing for me. At a certain stage, I wanted to take my own lives. And eventually my grandmother from Australia came and visited. And he heard me crying at midnight in Hong Kong. And when she inquired why, my mom told my grandma that, well, everything that I taught Gary is just forgot, and we're going to have the exam to get into the high school the next day. And my grandma said, well, why don't I take Gary back to Sydney to study with me? Maybe a change of environment is going to help him. So that's pretty much how I came over to Australia. So when I was growing up, my parents was worried that I'm going to be depressed and short-tempered and all that. And I think when I was 14, I came across an infomercial with Tony Robbins and talk about that, man, you can like reprogram yourself listening to some subliminal music, and that sounds like easy work. You can make yourself happy and successful. That's me. I love succeeding in the easy way, the fun way, the lazy way. So I bought the tapes, and I didn't have any money at the time though.
So you're 14 years of age, and you heard about this guy, Tony Robbins. Something about his message appealed to you. So you bought his materials, which you probably couldn't afford, and you started absorbing all the information. So what was that like, and how did it change your mindset?
I don't know, it could be a placebo effect, but I just listened to I'm a happy person, I'm a successful person, and started doing some of the exercise. And before long, I started become happy. I started believing in myself more. And on top of that, the Australian culture actually helped to shift my mindset, because there's a lot more encouragement involved in yourself, like focusing on what's wrong.
Now, you're obviously a lot older than 14 now, but you have continued to work with Tony Robbins, who's been a mentor for you, and you've been part of his Platinum program and gone on to do the Date with Destiny and all of the courses. What are some of the maybe 2 or 3 of the top things that you've learned from Tony Robbins?
Wow. And I'll tie it back to business, but it also ties into life. Like one of the first thing I can think of is the ultimate failure is when you can have success with no fulfillment. Success with no fulfillment is the ultimate failure. And he goes on to describe the stories similar to Robin Williams, a very successful actor, and makes millions of people happy around the world. Very happy family, good health, and then he committed suicide and took his own life. So what does success mean if you can't get fulfilled? And most of us is ingrained with us, as soon as we're in our 20s, you need to go out there to make money. And that's the number one job. You need to make a living. But there is not a lot of focus on fulfillment. So that's probably one of the first key takeaway. The second key is your emotions equals your emotions. The quality of your life is equals to the quality of the emotions that you live on a regular basis. And if you can control your own emotions, despite your surrounding, your environment, your circumstances, you're going to have a very happy life. I go to Fiji and we just talked about going to India as well. We've got some of the biggest smile and happy people, and we would say that they are really struggling in our eyes, but they didn't have a lot of materialistic stuff around them and not even a lot of food, but they're just happy. So you need to focusing on measuring and focusing on how you can control your own emotions. So that's the second takeaway. The third one, we are all driven by a certain human needs that drive us, and you need to really understand your blueprint on what really drives you and the people around you. If you don't understand what's driving yourself and the people around you, your life will be reactive to what's happening around you. But if you can start to understand the patterns of what drives human being, you can design your own life and help to influence the people around you.
Fantastic. Now, how does this relate back to business? Because some people might think, oh, that mindset stuff, that's all just, over there.
Yeah.
How does it actually translate to helping people to become successful in business?
Yeah, that's a great question. My company, at its peak, at its highest, it was ranked as the second best place to work in Australia. Google came first, my company came second, and we've got foosball tables, sleeping room, PlayStation, DJ decks. We have a lot of fun at work. And some of our clients ask, Gary, do you guys do any work at work? But the reality is, if you can create an environment that your emotions of yourself and your team is always at a very high level, positive level, when you come across a challenge, you're going to be a lot more resourceful. Studies have shown that the companies that are operating at a highest, happiest level, they outgrow the companies that are not as happy. So happiness pays, and happiness comes from your mindset. And same as if you come across a challenge and whatever is coming across in your business, if you don't focus on what is possible, and you started complaining or blaming your team, blaming the clients, blaming the external circumstances, your team will duplicate the same as you, and you have a blaming culture. But if you can control your own mindset and your emotion to always being positive irrespective of the situation, then you're going to have a lot of fun.
Fantastic. Well, it's been great chatting with Gary. We've still got more to go in this interview with Gary. We'll take a short break and we'll be back in a moment. Welcome back to our interview with Gary Ng, and we're talking about how to develop the mindset of a great entrepreneur. Now, in this second part of our interview, we're going to talk about culture, a really important topic that really goes hand in hand with mindset and one of the important factors to business success. So, Gary, let's talk about what is culture and why is it so important to building a successful business?
Yeah, culture, like we all have a culture within our organization, whether you use the word before or not, is the ingrained DNA.
To continue enjoying this presentation, download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.